Hello, everybody, and welcome into another episode of Market Movers. We are back-to-back days. First time in a while, but I'm not really too mad. Today, I have the pleasure of being joined by none other than John Bollman. John, how you doing today?
Good, man. Hopefully better than you. I hope you're feeling better. Happy to talk some baseball today, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think the brain fog is lifting a little bit. Kind of had a nice little 5-2 bounce back. Supposed to be 6-1, but the Padres blew it. A little mad about that. But, you know, it was a little bit of a rough Sunday, Monday for me. But we are back into it. We are feeling a little bit better. Hopefully my voice can do its thing today. But nonetheless, John, it has been a couple of interesting weeks in baseball since you were last on the show. I know there's been a lot of crazy stuff going on. I'm not really going to waste anyone's time today. Let's pull up some NumberEdge simulations, talk about what we're seeing in the projections. We already got Milwaukee and Tampa Bay going. I don't know if you had to play there. I stayed far away after getting the Milwaukee Brewers right yesterday. You were mentioning that there's some weirdness going on with this. Are you targeting anything in this early game live? Are you trying to see if, Beeks pitches well? It looks like he opened the game up with a single to Yelich, but I don't know what to make of this right now.
Yeah,
it's a weird one.
So we actually had value in the sports line sims on Tampa Bay here, but that was with Jeffrey Springs starting. He would be on normal rest right now. He should be starting, but for whatever reason, the Rays went with Jalen Beeks to open the game, and they might or might not pitch Jeffrey Springs as a bulk reliever. They might save him as Jake Fettner mentioned earlier, they might save him to pitch the Blue Jays series coming up next. So that could be an option for them, or maybe he comes in today if they're winning. Who knows? You gotta love the Rays, though.
Gotta love the Rays. It's actually really interesting to see these teams, the Rays, the Red Sox, and the Blue Jays, all sort of like half battling right now. It's going to get really interesting, I think, as we get into the second half of like July, after the trade deadline settles, if we start getting a clearer picture on the wild card in the American League. But, the Yankees are like running away. There's more difference between the Yankees and the Jays than there are the Jays and the Orioles right now. These teams are like, I feel like it's kind of like, okay, we got to go to work. But like that drive from a lot of them is gone. I mean, we saw a great game yesterday in Toronto. Don't get me wrong. We were talking a little bit about how Waka was on the show yesterday. We were talking a little bit of how Waka was due for some regression. We saw exactly that in Toronto, but going to be another great game there today. We're not going to necessarily go chronologically too much. We'll definitely touch on the early games in the next 15, 20 minutes. But what do you make of this series? How are you feeling about the AL East? I mean, I know you're a Toronto guy, so what have you been seeing out of this matchup and this team?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's interesting. The Rays are getting healthy now. Wander Franco's back in the lineup. They still have a few injured relievers, but they could be getting JP Fireeisen should be coming back soon. He's big. I think he has under a 1.0 ERA this season. So the Rays are getting healthier. The Blue Jays, they've been playing well. The Red Sox have also been playing well. Obviously, they've one of the top five. Believe it's 18-4, 18-5 in June, something like that. So they've been one of the best teams in June. But the Yankees, I believe it's 21-5 in June. So they've been the best team in June. The Yankees are running away with it. I think they're going to be a very good team. I mean, we knew they were probably going to go to the playoffs after seeing, especially the first month. And how this bullpen's performing. That's really been the main thing for me is the pitching. But they're going to win a lot of games. It's just, are they going to be able to beat Houston? And I think that's a big question, especially with the Houston series coming up next week.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's really, I think that's the question for everybody right now. If you could get anywhere decent odds on the Yankees and the Astros to meet in the American League Championship Series. Like, you should go for it. I can't imagine these guys are not the 1 and the 2 seed coming into the playoffs. And that means, they're destined to reach that point again. We've seen it a lot of times in the last few years. I remember talking about with you last playoffs. We said, Houston has been dominant. They get there every single year. They win that first series almost every single year in the last 5 to 10 years. So I expect Yankee Houston to be a big deal. We saw the 4 games in the Bronx was an even pegging series, 2-2. And I mean, Yordan Alvarez looks like the only guy that can compare to Aaron Judge in the majors. And you got to love it. I mean, I love the rivalry. I love feeling like, it's not necessarily a guaranteed thing, because otherwise all my money would be on the Yankees right now. As a homer, it's definitely a little weird to be like, is this legit? Are we just going to get Yankeed again? Are they going to be able to have this spectacular finish? But, down 5 to the A's early, coming back, scoring 9. It's just, they never cease to make me say, like, all right, this one feels legit. But we don't need to talk about the Yankees too much. I doubt either of us are really going to go fess up and play minus 300 today. I know I'm not. I don't hate, maybe playing a Yankees first 5 team total, coming off of a 2-run outing yesterday. The lineup doesn't look great, though. But I don't know. It's going to be an interesting game. How have you been feeling about day games? I mean, we know day game Yankees haven't always been the best version of the Yankees. Any thoughts? Did you attack this game at all? I know I don't have a play on it yet.
No, I think this line's pretty much unplayable, but as I mentioned earlier, and as you probably know, they're about to go play the Astros again. I wouldn't be surprised if they really just mail it in this game, or I mean, they could go up 10-0, as well. But at the same time, I don't think they would care really if they go down 5-0. They have the best record in the league already. They really don't need one win. They would much rather set up their bullpen to get ready for this upcoming series, especially after, I guess, splitting it at home. Although it did seem like they could have very easily been swept in the 4-game series. Weren't for 2 late comebacks. So I think they're going to be much more focused coming in this next series.
You talk about, the late comeback. It's not even just late comeback, right? Like Aaron Hicks hitting a 3-run home run after maybe having like the coldest month of June that you could have for a Yankees player. And that being just such a timely hit really changed the vibe of that whole series, right? If we're sitting here saying the Yankees dropped 3 of 4 at home to the Astros, it's a whole different conversation about how good are they, what's really going on. Now, look, this team is leading the MLB in OPS allowed, and until I think last night, the Jays took OPS back from the Yankees because they had a monstrous showing, a lot of home runs, and the Yankees scored 2 runs. But they're jockeying for the best hitting, best pitching team in the majors at any given moment. Like you mentioned, the bullpen has been phenomenal. Michael King's having a great year. Clay Holmes, might be the best closer in baseball right now. I do think that he's had only like 1 blown save, but it's been pretty incredible to see Chapman get hurt and somebody just step up and increase the level and the capability of this bullpen. So very cool to see. I know as a Yankee fan, I'd probably tell you to stay away today a little bit. Someone like maybe playing at the bottom of that lineup to outperform expectations. But, I'm not really going to go chasing Aaron Judge props today. I'm not really going to chase Donaldson props today. Stanton's been mashing, but I'm not going to go play a home run today. I'd look, if you want value, someone like Aaron Hicks, someone like IKF to like get on base or to get, a run scored seems like something that could happen. But it's a weaker lineup. It's not a great lineup from Oakland. You understand why they're minus 300. They just do not have power. One of the worst ISO teams in baseball, which is of course isolated strength. It's going to be, it should be a beatdown. First 5 run line seems like a pretty safe play too. But, Oakland is sneaky on the road. They're the worst home team in baseball, but they are sneaky on the road. I think we probably both agree that we could pass. And really quick, Danny, there's a lot of great lineup sites in baseball. This is RotoWire. You can use Baseball Savant when they get announced too. I do enjoy RotoWire though.
You can also use the app, the MLB app. You just go to more and then starting lineups, and it's a good place to show all the MLB starting lineups as well.
Definitely a good place. There's a lot of cool stuff that you can use out there. Always happy to share what resources I use. These are like my favorites here. This is all my splits, just looking at teams versus left-handers, right-handers. Wait, let me make sure. You guys can see this. Cool. Home and away splits, bullpen usage, bullpen ERA. Check out some VMIs for different games. You can pull that up. Some MLB stats, daily lineups, ballpark pal, odds calculator, so that I know like how much I'm paying, because it is really hard to understand American odds system, no matter how long you spend dealing with it. Team trends, first 5 trends. I actually saw Wager Talk post. We were talking about it in the Discord. Someone posted it. They posted like their first 5 stats, and they used full game lines to determine how much teams had won in first 5 innings. And I couldn't even look at it, John. But anyway, let's talk a little bit. Yeah. They're like, oh, the Twins are the best first 5 team in the majors, but okay, maybe by record, maybe, but like by going by full line, sure, but yeah, no.
It's like going by record instead of units.
It is. You want to use first 5 lines, but Odds Shark does a really good job with that. That was on my list too. But let's talk a little bit about some of these other early games. The next one that is set to is it tip off? I don't think so. It's to start. There's no cool word in baseball. But what do we think about this lowly matchup between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Washington Nationals? Espino looked really nice in his last start. Are you ever going to pay minus 143 to back the Nationals though, John?
Not right now. I was actually on the Pirates yesterday, and I thought that they could have won yesterday. If anything, they had a really weird lineup though, which kind of like made me question them. They had O'Neal Cruz, which is he's a rookie. He's gonna be good, but he was hitting third and he's a lefty. And so you're putting him third in the lineup against Patrick Corbin, who's probably going to hit lefties well. They also split their lineup with lefties and righties, so he could basically pitch around guys and be able to walk certain guys, which is why he had success. So that worried me a little bit. But at this, David Bednar is also hurt. He was out the last 2 games. I didn't realize that because he wasn't announced. And Makes sense. Will Crow pitched 30-something pitches yesterday. So the Pirates bullpen isn't looking great right now. The Nats also didn't have Kyle Finnegan or who's their other reliever? Kyle Finnegan. Tanner Rainey is their closer. He should be available. He pitched yesterday, but they had Kyle Finnegan and one of their other good relievers unavailable yesterday, and they should be available. Carl Edwards Jr. is what I'm thinking of. They both should be available today.
Yeah, Bednar's out. Crow pitched and took the loss yesterday. Stratton took a loss. Like, this has not been pretty for this Pittsburgh Pirates bullpen. No, I'm with you. I mean, looking at the VMI today, we got positive VMIs. We have 62 air density. We got winds blowing out. It's going to be 91 degrees. Humidity of 31 is low. But what I'm interested in, so I don't know, I've been like really trying to learn a lot more about this site. I've really been enjoying, we looked at it a little bit yesterday, but these team VMIs in certain scenarios. So like if you go and you look at like the National League, you want to check out Washington, you can go any player if you really want players, but I prefer looking at how the team has done. Obviously, it's a lot more at bats, but Washington at home in this positive, this is crazy. I mean, this is just them maybe being bad, but they have not played well in a positive VMI range at home. Really quickly check. This is not like the end all be all by any means. This is just an interesting look into how certain teams have done in certain weather statistics. Pittsburgh Pirates on the road in a +5 are hitting their highest out of any category. So this is really interesting to me. I actually didn't dive too deeply into this game, but I feel like Pittsburgh might get some runs today. We saw that lineup is loaded with left-hand hitters. Kind of crazy here against the righty Espino. I don't notice if he has any bad splits against the righties or the lefties. I'm going to go take a look. But how would you feel about...
kind of a crafty righty. Has very good, not good stuff at all, but he's very good at spotting. And so usually when those guys are going well, they're going to continue to go well, which is why playing Pittsburgh would worry me a bit. But yeah, but other than that,
interesting. I feel like there could be a case for like an over here today in this game. As you said, Espino has been going well, but this could be maybe where the wheels start to fall off a little bit, in my opinion. He was a reliever up until the middle of June, has only made 3 starts. This is going to be his 3rd one at home. He did pitch decently against the Rangers last time. He's faced the Brewers, the Phillies, and the Rangers. It's not like the Pirates are going to be any more difficult than those opponents, but it looks like he's been pretty consistent. No real crazy homer away split. Doesn't really have the innings to even consider that. But, it looked like it got a little bit tougher for him in the last game. He didn't pitch all that well. I think he got helped out by a little bit of luck. He did let up 6 hits, his worst outing in 5.1. So maybe they get some hits today. Maybe an over on his hits allowed feels like it could be a bet for me. Just with that positive VMI for the Pirates, it could be an interesting spot for them to get hits. Again, it's hard for me to want to take this team to get runs across the plate, but I feel like they could definitely maybe get some base runners today. So I'll be looking into that. Maybe I'll make a play. That game starts in 30 minutes, so I'll have to do it maybe while you're talking about a point here, John. Check out some of the lines so I don't drone on about it. But looks like it could be a very interesting spot for Pittsburgh today. Sharps are on Nationals, though. Looks like most of the money is there. All right, no need to spend too much longer on that matchup, though. Again, I like an over maybe just because I think the Pirates could hit better than expected. And look at this terrible bullpen usage for them. They could have literally the C team in today, and it already hasn't necessarily been pretty for them. And we've seen, look, it's been a pretty busy couple of days for Washington too. You could maybe see some of their. I'd love to see Steve Cishek get some time against any team I have an over on. So 5.4, Andres Machado, not great either. Could see those guys get some work today, which would be very welcome. But all right, lean over on hits allowed for Espino. Might get some plays on, might get some sprinkles on that one. But next day game, what do we think about the people call him the GOAT? I don't really know if he's the greatest pitcher of all time. But Justin Verlander shares the namesake. You got to give him his flowers. The dude is killing it for his age. What do you make of this line? Do you like the Mets as a home underdog today after getting their asses handed to them, for lack of a better term?
Yeah, Taijuan Walker's actually been pitching really well this season. Justin Verlander's out, and Taijuan Walker's only had 1 blow up. Justin Verlander's been pitching really well this season as well. He's had 2 blow ups, but Verlander's been getting deep into games. The Astros have their entire bullpen available as well after the blowout yesterday. Like I mentioned, though, with the Yankees, is they're also going home after this game to play the Yankees. I'm worried that they could be looking ahead. That being said, the Mets also have a couple lefties at the bottom. Tomas Nido is in for James McCann. They also have Ender Inciarte playing I believe it's his first game of the season, as well as Dom Smith, who's been honestly terrible this season. So they do have a few holes at the bottom of their lineup, whereas the Astros are playing their whole lineup. So I do like the Astros here in this game. I think it's good value on Verlander. It's just whether to me if they go all in on this game or not.
Yeah. I don't know that they're going to need to. I mean, you're talking some truth here, man. Ender and Inciarte had 2 at bats yesterday. Didn't really go well. He hit like a 60-mile-an-hour ground ball right into the dirt and got out. Obviously, it was never going to, 7% chance that ground ball goes for a hit, essentially, according to StatCast. But yeah, it really hasn't been too much of a great series for the Mets. I'm sure they want this one. This could be a game where they come out and the bats kind of do more than you'd expect. But it looks like not the lineup looks pretty solid for Astros. You still got Yordan, you still got Tucker, you still got Bregman, Pena, Altuve. They're not really sitting anybody too huge. Jake Myers is back. He hasn't exactly gotten off to the hottest start in his first 7, batted ball events, but nonetheless, it should be a decent spot for an under. I feel like if I had to take a wild swing at this game here, is that Walker comes out, gives up a first inning run, and then settles in. and that you could probably get a live under at a really nice line after the first inning or after that run gets across the plate. Or the Mets to come back and win it late, especially, you might get defensive substitutions late in the game. You might not get a full 4 or 5 at bats from Jordan today. I'd probably lay off his props after he went yard yesterday. I don't know. This is going to be an interesting game because you have such a good point about this Yankees series. It's definitely going to be on the mind of the Astros, who have to fly home. I think they just played a Yankee too, so they've been on the road for a while. Could be an interesting day for them to sort of punt, but hard to punt with Verlander on the mound. The man is definitely pitching lights out. Walker is having some trouble with his hard hit rate, honestly. Not one of the best in the league right now with that. His ERA looks like it is due for some regression. He has an xERA of 3.87 compared to an ERA of 3.0. And again, this man is, a career 390. So it should regress closer to that 4.0 ERA today. I don't know. I did well on the Astros first 5 team total yesterday, sitting at a pretty 1.0, which was ridiculous. But 1.5. But I don't know. Probably a pass for me here. Maybe sprinkle on the home underdog. Any objection?
I think that's a fine play. I think the Mets definitely want this game.
Yeah.
I think they've lost the first 3 games between these two teams, and it's obviously the last time they'll play unless they meet up in a World Series. So I do think they want this. And Taijuan, I love Taijuan Walker. I just think if the Mets do win, I think it's because the Astros are looking ahead to the next game.
I agree. I think it's worth a gamble though. Mike's lines don't exactly have too much value in either direction, right? Essentially, that 128x line here for the Mets means that he would expect them to be like plus 118 or so. You're going to get them plus 130 right now at Win Sports, which is seriously just out of control. The best book right now, just giving 5-10 cents on almost everything, which is just
some steam on the Astros as well. I think it was minus 135 earlier. It's already up to like minus 150 now, which is a little heavy.
I'm seeing minus 140, minus 145 at DraftKings. So it is moving. Might keep moving a little bit towards tip off, which again, I don't know if we can call it that still, but I'm going to agree with it anyway. Plus 130, very interesting. Again, live line doesn't seem too crazy. I feel like, if the Astros get up early, they could mentally sort of quit and just pack up and go home, and the Mets could come back. But again, no real play for me on this one. Let's keep rolling here. We have maybe the most beatable team in baseball right now, the Kansas City Royals, losing Salvador Perez since we last talked. Forcing MJ Melendez into a cleanup spot, and the man cannot get a hit. I mean, he's like 23 years old, and you understand going through some slumps, but I'm pretty sure he's like 2 for 30 in his last like 6 or 7 games. And that's one of their best bats with Bobby Witt Jr., who he's playing well, but it's just not enough to outweigh how bad their pitching's been. We mentioned yesterday, it's really tough for them when teams come to visit them. They play in one of the best hitting parks in baseball, and it amplifies the team's advantage over them because they're not a good hitting team. They're not a great pitching team. So I don't know. I mean, I took like the minus 115, 116 this morning on the Rangers, one of my favorite plays. Minus 1, I think it was minus 108 or something. You can get minus 111 right now. What are you thinking? Is this a trap? Am I walking into a weird play here? Are the Royals going to steal one on a Wednesday afternoon?
Honestly, I don't know. I personally don't. I don't love the Rangers here. I'm probably going to stay away from this game. But I also thought, like completely honest, I thought the Royals were going to win yesterday if they were going to win a game because they called up one of their top prospects, Vinny Pasquantano. Andrew Benintendi was expected to be out, but he was in the lineup after leaving 2 games ago with an injury. And I don't expect a rookie to come in and perform right away. I don't think he's going to come in and hit a home run or get 2 hits. It's more of like an energy boost.
Right.
That combined with people come to the ballpark when you have a top prospect playing. So a lot more people in the ballpark. The team might be motivated to win more. Yeah. That being said, today, Dane Dunning's one of the worst pitchers in the league on the road. I think he's going to be a very good pitcher in this league, and he'll be more consistent in the future. But for whatever reason, the last few seasons, he's just terrible on the road. It's very hard to sweep a team as well. So yeah, I'm probably staying away from this one. I just don't have a good feeling about it, to be honest. But I
I
know there are a
understand
lot of
that.
people on the Rangers, and I can see why. I understand that completely.
Yeah, it's definitely tough to support someone like Dunning. He's basically middle of the road average right now. A little worse for the wear on the expected ERA, expected WOBA. I found out this morning that that X WOBA and X ERA are functions of the same thing. X ERA is just X WOBA extrapolated out across an ERA scale. So that's usually why you'll see the X WOBA and the X ERA in the same percentile like that. They're pretty related. But nonetheless, we're checking out these splits here. That's what we're doing here. Like you said, it has been pretty gross for Mr. Dunning on the road. 0-4, 6.03 ERA, 1.75 WHIP, and it does not help that his day game splits are worse too. 1.50 in the day game. So look, if this is going to be if there's going to be a spot for Kansas City to get some runs, I think it's got to be this one. Now, I don't know if I can support that because a good outing for this offense might be 3 runs, and a good outing for their bullpen might be only 2 allowed. It hasn't been too pretty. I know Scott Barlow has done pretty well as a closer in the last couple of weeks, but outside of him, it feels like it's pretty shaky in that Kansas City bullpen.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you there.
Yeah. I know that I think Mike has a play on the team total for them. I know I like the game price, feels nice. It feels like a good over spot too. I think that game was sitting at like 8 or 8.5, or maybe even, I think it was at 9. I think it's probably going to get to 10 or 11, honestly. So I like an over there. Again, Dunning has probably been one of the better over pitchers in the league. We go and look at this, especially on the road. 5 runs allowed on the road, 4 runs allowed on the road, 2 runs. Okay, that's the Athletics, so still not great. 7 hits. Gross. 11 hits and 5 runs allowed on the road. Even had a really rough May just in general. Pitched brilliantly against the New York Yankees, who, go figure. And again, he was in better form to open the year. It looks like he's kind of had some trouble.
That series was weird, though. I would say that
Yeah.
that series was more of an outlier because I don't know if it was 2 or 3 games, but every game that they played was like a 1-0, 2-1 game.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird. There just was no offense that whole week, it felt like, from the Yankees. But nonetheless, this is interesting. This is also that part of the year, though, John, where like if you go and be like, oh, this guy's splits stink, like it feels like he might just be due to finally have a decent road start here, especially against a middling offense like this.
Yeah,
I feel like
that's a good point. I think when this is the time, I think that's because this is the time of the season when people start to take into account splits, where you have 4 or 5 starts in both sides, home day, road away,
Yes.
road away, home. So I think this is the time where everybody starts to look at splits and actually take them into consideration, which is, so you kind of have a bias to people realizing that this is now where splits are killing them. But at the same time, yes, I would agree with you there, but that's also because they're only 4 or 5 like games in these splits. Like these are still pretty small sample sizes.
Yeah, they definitely pretty small sample size. And we can see it here, right? He's only pitched in 7 away games, 15 games in total. So pretty decent split here. But like I wouldn't go like running and be like, oh my gosh, this is the end all be all. And in fact, like part of the reason why I'm okay with taking the Rangers behind someone like Dane Dunning is because if anything, the books are giving us a nice line because of that, because people are afraid, because if anything, there might be people on the other side saying today is the day for the Royals because this guy stinks on the road. Well, you know what? The fact of the matter is that I'll take a nice close to even money shot on the Royals losing any day of the week. It's just, I've talked about it a little bit this season. I'm probably going to just keep talking about it more. I'll pull it up. We were looking at it yesterday from Covers, who really does a great job with this data. You just look, I think it's in, where is it? Well, I've lost it, but I'll find it. It's just, it's like which teams are like the best money teams in baseball. And it was somewhere, League Trends probably. No, but what the idea is that what I've found this year so far, John, and you can tell me if you sort of feel this or if you don't, is that it's been easier to fade bad teams than it has been to chase wins on good teams. Do you feel that way this year too, or you think there's still been some select top quality teams that can bring home money?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I wouldn't. I haven't really thought about that. I just play because lines can be completely different.
Of course.
And I think it just depends on my perspective of the team versus the public's / books perspective of the team.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely a good way to put it. That's kind of what happens anytime you try to handicap anything. I think for me, what has just been a little bit more apparent is that, if you go chase some of these good teams, whether that's, I don't know, Houston or Atlanta or Boston or Toronto, the Cardinals really, I feel like fall into this. Like the Cardinals have this like perception of being a good team. They have good players. They have, Goldie's been having a great year. Arenado is awesome. They have, this reputation, but they're still oftentimes losing to that middle of the pack team. While I feel like the opposite, like the complete converse of that being like the teams that we know are bad end up like winning less than the good teams lose. If that makes sense how I said that.
Yeah,
like
I know what you're saying. I don't know. I haven't really thought into that much. I think it goes both ways, really. I would be interested to see if there are numbers, but I don't want to make any assumption without seeing any numbers there.
Yeah. No, I know the numbers are pretty much in support of that. Like, I believe the best team in baseball, just for like blind money line betting, is the Yankees. And if you had just blind, you'd have more money by blind betting against the worst teams than you would blind betting on the best teams. Like, I know for certain that is true this year. I think the 5 worst teams in baseball by money would accrue about 65 units if you blindly bet against them. And the top 5 teams, I think it's something like even below 50 units. So it's pretty serious in terms of the discrepancy there. 15, 20, 30% on that is a major difference. But you know what? This is probably the time of the year where that might start regressing a little bit. You might see some of these bad teams winning a little bit more. Starting to get sticky in baseball. It's that time of the year between now, the All-Star break, end of July. There's nothing wrong with tamping down your units as things get a little weird, especially with teams considering trades, resting guys, showing guys. We saw Luis Castillo pitched 120 throws yesterday in 6 innings because they're just trying to show off, what a good trade potential he is. It's going to get weird. It's going to get weird, but let's get weird with it. What do we think about Madison Bumgarner, Mike Clevenger? We saw 7 unanswered runs from the Arizona Diamondbacks last night to win that game. Are the Padres going to answer? Is Bumgarner going to get a win? How are you feeling about this matchup today?
Yeah, I was also on the Padres last night. Pretty pissed off about that when I woke up this morning. But we have a matchup, a rematch between these 2 starting pitchers and these teams. The Padres swept the Diamondbacks in San Diego last week. And this was the matchup in this game was the 3rd game of the series, the last game. And Mike Clevenger only pitched 4 innings, but he did only allow 1 run. Madison Bumgarner got hit hard, but he had his pitches extended and his innings extended because of an error in the first inning.
Yeah.
The Padres are actually ranked 20th in the league in weighted on base average against lefties in the last month. Wow. So they've been a lot worse against lefties lately. Mike Clevenger hasn't pitched more than 5 innings this season. So after last night, we saw, so you're going to get at least 4 innings, probably 3-4 innings out of the bullpen today. And we saw last night, Taylor Rogers pitched an inning and 2/3. We saw Tim Hill come in. He was terrible. Luis Garcia came in, 2 walks, a hit by pitch. So who do you bring in? Nabil Crismatt. He didn't pitch yesterday, but he pitched 2 days ago, and he blew the save when he pitched that game. So there are like this bullpen is rattled right now, and I think the Diamondbacks have a ton of value if they can just keep it somewhat close going into the bullpen. So I like the value on the Diamondbacks here.
Interesting. Would you even consider like a sort of a duplex type of thing here where you say, okay, I know that Padres, if they have a chance to do anything, it's going to be early in the game and, they're going to be at a big disadvantage late. So it sounds like you'd probably agree with, if you like Padres, you're probably going to like them in the first 5. And then, but my default here when I saw this line was Arizona plus 117 right now. Win. You can get plus 110 out there, other sites. But again, we love that extra 7 cents. It does go a long way. That's like adding an extra 1.5% to your bet expectancy for free just by shopping. So, if you're just getting into betting, shopping super important. And again,
especially in baseball.
Yeah. Oh my God. But low air density. It's going to be not too crazy hot out there for the day game. Might see some runs. I think we're going to see a couple runs. I like this game to probably go over again, especially because you cannot trust that bullpen. We can look at the lineup really quick just to make sure that no one glaring is out here. Thank you.
Oh, it's
$1,000,001 ads.
Oh no, it's expected.
It's expected. So they're not sure if he's going to be back yet. Clearly, line probably shifts if he's expected back. It does not look like he is. I would imagine they'd be minus 135, minus 140 if he was going to be in the lineup.
That story is a whole nother thing because that's just really weird. This is his 10th day being injured, but he never went on the IL. So for whatever reason, the Padres just refused to put him on the IL and use that extra roster spot. So they've been working with, I believe it's 4 relievers on the IL as well right now, maybe 5. So they really are just handicapping themselves. So it's a very weird situation there. And especially now that it's the 10th day, I don't know why you wouldn't retroactively add him when you can take him off at any day. So maybe that's why they expect him to be in the lineup today. It was because it's the 10th day and he hasn't been added. But I also don't think people are that smart. So
well, isn't that the truth? I mean, it's definitely going to be an interesting one to see if he comes and plays. Rock Lobster with a great little bit of commentary here. Tatis probably going to come back before Machado. We're seeing a lot of production out of their catcher right now. Jorge Alfaro is having a great little run here for them, providing much needed RBI support. He had 3 last night. Interesting player to keep an eye on. Probably decent value on props. He's been hot. But as we see here, we're looking at, these are Madison Bumgarner's most recent performances. Not that pretty. In his most recent one, he gave up 6 runs. Of course, like you mentioned, that error was a little bit of a problem, but he kept the ball in the park. Of course, he was pitching at San Diego, so a lot easier to keep the ball in the park. I would worry about him today. I mean, 7+ hits in all but one of his last 6 starts. That's kind of rough. And the other one at 6. So it's not like I'm even with Tom Foolin here. We have 6+ hits in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of his last 9. If you have, my guess is that hit line is at 6.5 today. We cashed that against the Padres. I don't hate that again today. I'd imagine that Bumgarner gives up a fair share of hits. The walks were okay last time out, but those hits are gross. And the Padres can definitely get guys on base. They definitely have good contact hitters. Eric Hosmer is always looking for an excuse to get on base. So, I do think that bullpen just is too much liability. So, if they get down again, if you can get I would just literally, the moment that Clevenger comes out of this game, I just bet against the Diamondbacks, whatever line you can get against the Padres. Sorry, I bet on the Diamondbacks. It looks like management with the Padres never been too great. But all right, we're having a fun time here with none other than John Bollman. Thank you again for hanging out. What else we're kind of getting done with these early games. People now maybe have a little more time to find out what's going on. We're into that 4 p.m. hour. We're not going to touch on every single game in the evening here, but of the remaining 5 or 6, 7 games, what's really standing out to you on the card today? Anything that you're interested to talk about, you want to hear my take on? I don't know what's got you thinking.
Yeah. We could just go to the next game, honestly, there, because I want to talk about this one, the Orioles versus the Mariners. The Mariners, I believe the record is 4-9 at home in June. So they've been good, but they've been really bad at home. The Orioles have been on fire. I think it's 14-11 in June, and 8-6 on the road. So the Orioles have been pitching really well. Austin Voth, he's kind of going to be like an extended opener here. He's been pitching games, starting games, but I think they're trying to extend him into a starter if he pitches well. But the Orioles have an off day tomorrow, and they have pretty much their entire bullpen available. So they have an advantage here in the sense that Austin Voth can start. And if he doesn't pitch well, they can take him out pretty fast, knowing that they have their entire bullpen to use. But if he pitches well, they can let him go as long as he needs to. And for the Mariners, Chris Flexen's starting. So he's actually been pitching pretty well lately if you look at his earned runs. But he's allowed multiple walks in 7 of his last 8 starts. And he actually hasn't been giving up home runs lately, but when he struggles, he gives up a lot of home runs. And the Orioles just hit 4 home runs against George Kirby 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
They were shut out by Robbie Ray yesterday, but Robbie Ray's shutting out everyone right now. He's gone back to his old form, so that's completely understandable. The only thing I would worry about here is the Orioles going, flying home, going into the off day, and they've already had a good road trip. But at the same time, at plus 120, plus 130, I love that value there.
I definitely understand. This is a really interesting one because Flexen has been somebody that you sort of say, all right, I want to stay away from. Voth has looked like someone you can target. I mean, this expected ERA is not great. Like, you're talking, but the thing is that it's better than his ERA. So he's gotten shelled.
And
right?
most of that was with the Nationals. So changing team is big.
Yes.
In terms of a guy's psyche, he was a prospect as well. So having a guy that goes from a prospect, he has high hopes in an organization, going to a new organization, especially one that might trust him to try to build him up into a starter, or where he doesn't have a ton of expectations early, that can really help a guy. So I'm not saying he's going to be great today, but it's possible that he is. And if he isn't, they'll take him out immediately.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like, he's started twice now, Rays and White Sox. He's done pretty well. Only 1 run allowed. So, it feels like, like you said, when you get a new coach, when you get a new staff, when you get, a new team, it feels like, all right, well, we brought you in here for a reason, kid. We saw something we liked. We're going to go let you open these games. We got confidence in you. It's a little different than, being stuck on the Nationals. And you can see here what we're looking at. Like, he really kind of was doing well as a reliever throughout most of April. Really struggled at the end of May here. I mean, this is 15 earned runs in less than 5 innings. So it really fell apart for him here, and you're seeing a lot of that represented in his stats. But he should be able to handle a Seattle offense that has been nothing short of disappointing. Obviously, they are not playing well this season. I mean, what some of these players, I mean, they just lost Ty France, who's a big part of what they're doing over there. I mean, they had I don't even know why they traded for Abraham Toro last year. He isn't doing anything. And then, obviously Marco Gonzalez is legit, but Chris Flexen isn't inspiring confidence in anybody right now. 5.42 expected ERA compared to the 4.31.
The thing is, they've been getting pretty good starting pitching lately. I think there's something like 12 of the last 14 starts have been 2 earned runs or less from the Mariners pitching. But like you said, they're not hitting at all. They scored 2 runs yesterday, 3 runs the day before. They didn't score much in LA. And they have their 3 best hitters facing suspension right now as well. So this team,
are they playing today though? Are those guys going to be?
Yeah. So all three of them appealed. So
they're playing.
So they are allowed to play until that decision comes down. And Julio Rodriguez, he was suspended 2 games, so he could probably get it down to 1. So it might just be 1 game when they're without all 3 of those guys. But I believe Winker and Crawford were suspended 3 and 5.
Yes.
So that's a lot of games for a team that really needs their best players. They're already not playing well.
Yeah. Who actually has played well recently is Taylor Trammell. I was looking at him. He's a kind of a prospect that has been maybe looked over a little bit in the last couple of months, but he's starting to come on a little bit. This guy is someone to watch. I think he could have a couple big series again, especially against some of these mediocre teams that they're going to continue to see all year. Like if you're looking for like a sneaky back end of your DFS lineups against bad pitching, Taylor Trammell is definitely someone to take a peek at. All right,
he's another change of scenery guy. Came from the Reds, was top prospect there, and could be benefiting from the new team.
Yeah, definitely. And the Mariners again are a team that let their young guys go out there and play. You know, and it's not like the Reds aren't, but I mean, it's just got to be depressing to be on the Reds. Period. Anyway, not so much recently. I mean, Drury and Senzel and even Farmer are all playing really well right now for the Reds. Still a pretty functioning offense there. Let's talk. We talked a little bit about Boston, Toronto. What do you make of Atlanta, Philly? I mean, we all know about the story, Bryce Harper, thumb fracture. You know, not great for baseball, but really not great for this lineup. It's not like they have, you know, anyone else besides Schwarber to hang their hat on. They seem very, very reluctant to move him back in the order, more likely to let Castellanos try to like pick up the slack, but he just hasn't been powerful this season. What do you are you going near this Philly team at all? Do you just not trust the offense? I took Atlanta first 5 run line behind Kyle Wright just because how do the Phillies score more than 3 on an average day now? I don't know.
Yeah, Kyle Wright's actually been giving up more hits lately. I think he should be fine against a Phillies team that's much better against lefties, though. Ranger Suarez, the thing that worries me there is Ranger Suarez. He's been decent lately, but the Braves absolutely crush left-handed pitching.
Yeah.
And they've been playing well lately. Ronald Acuna's out. He might need to go on the IL. Not sure yet there, but he's probably going to be out for this game as well. I'm probably just going to stay away from this game. I think the line's pretty dead on. What was the other game you asked about?
No, I was saying I have a first 5 run line here. Again, I think I just agree with you. I think the hitting of lefties is going to be a big deal here. And Rock Lobster's on the full game. Well, we know he's a Braves fan, so don't really pay too much mind here. But we got some big Braves fans over in the NumberEdge Discord.
I will say, like, I agree with you when you say I don't know how you can bet on the Phillies right now. Like, I agree with you there. Looking at their lineup, it's bare. The only thing I'll say is sometimes the teams, when they lose their best player, everybody, you know, gets that sense that they feel like they need to start chipping in. So you kind of see a lot of different people pitching in to get wins. But at the same time, it's very tough to be sustainable like that. Usually you can win for maybe a week or two like that, or maybe like during a home series like that. But it's very hard to continue to win like that.
I agree. No, I mean, it's going to be tough for them. It's just going to be tough. So I'm actually right now, I'm pulling up my DraftKings. I'm looking at the line before these 1 o'clock games lock in. I am probably going to go ahead and get that Paolo Espino over 4.5 hits locked up today. I know it's a little risky, minus 130 though. I think he gets up 5 hits. I think that's probably going to happen. So I'm only going to put 0.1 unit on that. If you're watching right now, I'm going to go put it in the Discord. And I know that I'm probably staying off almost everything else at the 1 o'clock hour, except what I've already posted. It should be, I think we got some good games coming up. I'm not going to keep you too much longer, John. I don't really even want to, I mean, we can finish up with one of my favorite games that I think we need to talk about, which is, you know, whenever you get somebody like Shohei Ohtani on the mound, there's attacks. I mean, I don't know if you're looking here at Mike's numbers. His projection was something around minus 140, minus 142 for the Angels. And you and I both know the line is a lot steeper than that. Minus 190 right now on DraftKings. What do you think here? I always hesitate when the model is this like stark on something that I can't really wrap my head around. Is the book correct? Is there a reason why like the White Sox are just so heavy an underdog here today? I'm really interested.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I guess we could just touch on the games that have value real fast. But yeah, the White Sox and the Angels, I completely agree here. I'm probably going to play the White Sox tonight. Michael Kopech has worried me a little bit lately, but there's so much juice on the name value of Shohei Ohtani, and that team has lost, I believe they're 9-18 in June. So they've been, and I think it's 4th worst in the league. So they've been one of the worst teams in the league consistently for a long time now. When they hit, they don't pitch. When they pitch, they don't, which is very, very rarely when they pitch, they don't hit. So this team is frankly not very good. And I think there's tons of value there, especially if the White Sox start their full lineup. And then the other game down there that I like, the Rockies against the Dodgers. So I was talking about teams that like to look over a series. The Astros, the Yankees could be looking at the next series. Well, the Dodgers are going to play the Padres after this series. So
Yeah.
they could be doing the same exact thing here, looking over the Rockies. The Rockies are actually 4-1 against the Dodgers this season. German Marquez is starting to pitch well after a terrible start to the season.
Yeah.
Julio Urias, that's the only thing that worries me, is he is also starting to pitch really, really well lately. But the Rockies, they got Chris Bryant back. They're one of the best teams in the league against lefties. So I really like the value in both those teams, the Rockies and the White Sox down there tonight. And you could see some plays from me there.
Yeah, I mean, that White Sox line is just kind of nuts. I want to see the lineups. I'm going to wait for lineups there. I just, even if I lose 10 cents on it, I just want to see who's playing this, because feels like, could someone be sitting? Could we not know something? Like the movement has been pretty crazy in the last 24 hours. I mean, I know it technically opened -1 or +115. It barely lasted there. It got like shot up to +130, +125 pretty quick. And it's now +160. We've been doing a hit parlay, which is pretty fun. And we hit ours yesterday, I believe, pretty quickly, like within the first inning of each game. Some of the guys in the Discord. I actually don't have anybody yet today. I'll probably post something soon, but hopefully you guys don't have 105 hitters, which Garcia is a 2:00 hitter. Okay, I got to figure that out in the next little bit. But no, I definitely agree with Colorado. Mike's model had value on them yesterday, and they were able to do it. I could see the Dodgers kind of fighting back, trying to avoid the sweep. People still talking about what Pittsburgh did to them. Still a pretty big blemish on their year, and losing an away series to Colorado, losing a home series to Pittsburgh in sweep fashion. Man, that's got to be painful for people who are holding a World Series future on the team. It's just, if they can lose to these teams, if these teams can figure out how to shut down their lineups. If the Dodgers lost the game where Max Muncy had 2 extra base hits, John, that should not be happening with the form that this team has been in this year. But
the game 2 days ago,
or 2 days ago,
yeah, that one I totally saw. I don't know why I didn't play that though, because they were an extra inning game coming off Sunday Night Baseball. So that one was very understandable. And then yesterday, the Dodgers were actually without Will Smith. He wasn't in the lineup, and he's been probably their best hitter,
one of their hottest
lately. So the last 2 games are kind of explainable as to why they were able to lose. But then you go to this game, and I feel like they could be saving their bullpen if it is close and they want to get to San Diego.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Really quick, we'll finish up with the Sandy Alcantara game here. It's Sandy Day. Didn't go well last time on Sandy Day for backers. He was on the road and wasn't able to get it done. Usually a heavy price on his name. It's not that big of a tax today. You like him to get back on track, have a good outing, or St. Louis and Palante gonna, maybe cause a stir?
Yeah, this one was tough for me because, like you said, I love Alcantara. I think anytime he's about even money or plus money, you've got to take him. But at the same time, the Cardinals have dominated the Marlins lately. I believe they've won 9 of the last 10 games between the two teams. And Alcantara, he came from the Cardinals organization. He actually is 0-3 against them, so he might not necessarily be good at revenge against his old team, or maybe they know his tricks. Something's up there. Andre Palante, he's good. I like him, but he tends to get in trouble with walks. So
yeah,
that would be the Marlins' only way to get the win here, I think. And then the Cardinals' bullpen is a little bit thin. They didn't use Helsley. I don't think they used Helsley last night. So they should have their whole bullpen available.
Nice.
Or most of their bullpen available. But at the same time, there's a little bit of value on the Cardinals here. It seems like Mike says.
Yeah,
Mike thinks.
No, it's definitely slight. I wouldn't go running to bet it. It's a weird, honestly, I think today's a little bit of a weird slate. None of these games really yell. I think I only have 4 or 5 plays out today compared to a normal 8 or 9. So take it as you will. I think we're going to wrap it up. There's really not too much crazy stuff out there. The last play that I am on, I do like the Guardians today to get it done against Dylan Bundy. One of my straight up money line plays. There's a little bit of value out there. If you want to fade, if you want to fade the Tigers, I definitely understand that.
I'm actually on the Tigers.
Oh, you are? Okay.
I am. Yeah,
I don't hate it.
I could explain that one real fast.
Oh, let's do it. Let's finish up with a little bit of a contrarian take.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely contrarian take here. The Tigers have been terrible on the road this season, but they actually did win their last series on the road. The Giants did lose their last home series against the Reds. Alex Wood hasn't been good lately at all. The Tigers are much better against lefties. They're ranked 14th in the last month against lefties, whereas they're dead last against righties. The Giants bullpen also isn't that great. So this is mainly a play where, and Ronny Garcia is as a 3, I believe it's 1.8 on the road.
He's pitched decently.
Yeah. So this is one where I think if the Tigers can keep it close, maybe get a lead off the Alex Wood starting pitcher, then their bullpen can close it out. So I like the value here for sure.
I mean, what a year for Michael Fulmer, right? The resurgence in the bullpen. You would be shocked to hear that they are one of the leading bullpen teams in baseball, but they have to be to win games. Now, again, they have struggled on the road. So, John, good luck with it. I like it, though. I like it. This is definitely one of those spots where people are going to be like, oh, Alex Wood. Oh, Tigers stink. Oh, okay, I'll take the minus 200. No, probably some good value here on the Tigers. I wish you luck today on your card, John. I'm excited to have you back hopefully next week. Trying to do a little bit more of an active schedule in July now that my crazy month of June has ended, after a crazy month of April, after a crazy month of everything. It is literally, dude, I don't think I've had a minute to breathe for the last 8 months. But nonetheless, suffocating or not, always great to have you on the show. Everybody can go follow you. What's your Twitter handle, just so everybody knows?
At John Bollman 11.
It's right there.
John
Bollman 11. Justin Perri 8. We got some good numbers at the end here. John, thank you so much for hanging with us today. I'm sure everybody in the chat, everybody watching it back, is going to enjoy the insight that you bring every single time you get on the mic. We really appreciate having you here on Market Movers, and we will see you guys next time for another great stream. Thanks for hanging out today.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Peace out.